Chapter 1: The Unseen War. Under the red skies of dawn, across the endless fields of the American South, a silent war unfolds. Not between nations, not between armies, but between man and beast. From the pine forests of East Texas to the cornfields of Missouri, something ancient and unstoppable moves beneath the surface. Feral hogs. Strong, cunning, and relentless, these invaders tear through crops, devour roots, and trample pastures under the cover of night. Every farmer in these parts knows the sound, the low grunt in the dark, the sudden crack of a fence post, the echo of hooves tearing through freshly planted soil. It's the sound of destruction, the sound of thousands of dollars disappearing overnight. For generations, these lands have been home to hardworking families who rise before the sun, tilling, planting, and praying for a good harvest. But now their greatest challenge doesn't come from drought, or pests, or market prices. It comes from the wild. In the small town of Navasota, Texas, farmer David Miller remembers the night his life changed. "They came like ghosts," he says. "I had motion lights, fences, traps. None of it mattered. By morning, my field looked like a bomb went off." Over 60% of his newly planted corn was gone, dug up and eaten by a herd of feral hogs numbering more than 30. Each year, wild hogs cause more than $2.5 billion in agricultural damage across the United States. They destroy crops, contaminate water sources, and spread diseases that can infect both livestock and humans. But beyond the numbers lies a deeper story of survival, ingenuity, and resilience. Because in this war, the farmers aren't giving up. They're fighting back. Chapter 2: The Enemy Underground. To understand the battle, we must understand the enemy. Feral hogs, Sus scrofa, are descendants of domestic pigs brought to North America centuries ago by European settlers. Some escaped, others were released for hunting. Over generations, they adapted to the wild, breeding with Eurasian boars imported for sport. The result? A super species built for survival. With razor-sharp tusks, dense muscle, and intelligence rivaling that of a dog, these animals can thrive in nearly any environment, from swamps to deserts to farmlands. They're nocturnal, omnivorous, and move in groups known as sounders. A single sow can produce 2 litters per year, averaging 6 piglets each time. Within a decade, one pair can multiply into hundreds. They're survivors, but also destroyers. A herd of 20 hogs can tear up an entire acre in a single night, leaving behind churned soil, uprooted crops, and broken irrigation lines. In Louisiana, sugarcane grower Emily Torres learned that the hard way. "They don't just eat," she says, "they plow. They dig for worms, roots, anything edible, and they leave nothing standing." Researchers tracking hog populations estimate there are over 6 million feral hogs now roaming the U.S., with more than half of them concentrated in Texas. They've even begun moving north, reaching states like Kansas, Nebraska, and even Michigan. Climate adaptation, abundant food, and lack of predators have allowed them to expand faster than most invasive species in recorded history. To make matters worse, feral hogs are remarkably intelligent. They learn to recognize traps, avoid bait that smells of humans, and change their movement patterns after a single encounter with danger. It's no wonder wildlife officers call them the ghosts of the ground. For many, this war feels endless, but some see hope, not through eradication, but through strategy. Chapter 3: The New Age of Hunting. Gone are the days when farmers relied solely on rifles and moonlight. Today, a new generation of hunters has emerged, blending tradition with technology in the ultimate battle for the land. At night, the skies over Texas glow faintly as helicopters sweep across the plains. Pilots fly low, scanning fields with thermal imaging cameras, guiding shooters who lean out with precision-mounted rifles. Each mission costs thousands per hour, but the results are undeniable. In a single night, one crew can eliminate hundreds of hogs. Meanwhile, on the ground, a quieter revolution unfolds. Farmers are turning their fields into digital battlegrounds, installing motion sensors, smart traps, and drones linked to mobile apps. These traps use artificial intelligence to detect and capture entire herds, not just individuals. Once a full group is inside, the system automatically triggers a gate, preventing others from learning and escaping. But technology alone isn't enough. In Texas Hill Country, a group called the Night Guard Coalition patrols miles of farmland each week. They're not government agents. They're volunteers, ranchers, mechanics, veterans, all united by one goal: protect the land. They use ATVS, night vision scopes, and live GPS maps to coordinate hunts. Each member logs data, herd size, direction, time of encounter, feeding into a central database shared with state authorities. It's organized, efficient, and community-driven. For some, it's about sport. For others, survival. But for all of them, it's a mission: to restore balance before it's too late. As one hunter says with a grin, it's not just hunting, it's land defense. Chapter 4. The Debate Over Control. But not everyone agrees with the methods used in this war. Animal welfare organizations have raised concerns over aerial hunting, trapping, and poisoning campaigns, arguing that they can cause suffering and disrupt ecosystems. Dr. Karen Leahy, a wildlife biologist from the University of Florida, puts it simply: feral hogs are a problem, yes, but so is human overreach. We created this mess, and we can't fix it through blood alone. Instead, she advocates for biological control, sterilization programs, targeted relocation, and controlled ecological restoration. Yet for farmers losing thousands of dollars per acre, theory offers little comfort. In Mississippi, farmer Ron Jacobs tried humane traps for months. It didn't work, he admits. They'd send one pig ahead to test it. If he got caught, the rest disappeared for weeks. They're smarter than you think. Across the country, officials are experimenting with new tools, including genetic control, using oral contraceptives in bait form to slow reproduction. Early trials show promise, but environmental safety and cost remain major hurdles. At the same time, hog hunting tourism has exploded. Visitors from across the U.S. pay to join night hunts, blending adrenaline and conservation. The revenue helps fund local control programs, but it's sparked ethical debates. When does necessity become entertainment? In truth, the line is blurry, because every shot fired is both an act of defense and a symptom of imbalance, a reminder of what happens when nature is pushed too far. This isn't just about hogs, it's about humanity's relationship with the wild, a relationship we're still struggling to understand. Chapter 5. Lessons from Other Lands. Half a world away, the story repeats. In Australia, farmers face a similar battle, not just against feral pigs, but also feral goats and camels, all descendants of livestock introduced by European settlers. These animals now roam free, devouring native vegetation and pushing fragile ecosystems to the brink. Helicopter hunting campaigns are routine. Marksmen hover over the outback, tracking herds across hundreds of miles of red earth. In a single operation, thousands of animals can be culled. But just like in America, it's not just about killing, it's about control, balance, and survival. Indigenous ranger groups play a critical role. Combining traditional knowledge with drones and GPS tracking, they monitor animal movements and help restore native habitats. Across Africa, similar challenges arise. In Kenya and South Africa, warthogs and bush pigs damage crops and threaten local livelihoods. But instead of eradication, conservationists promote coexistence. They install natural barriers, chili fences, beehive lines, and scent deterrents, designed to repel animals without harm. These solutions cost less, protect wildlife, and teach coexistence over conflict. Back in the U.S., some communities are starting to follow suit. Projects in Texas and Oklahoma now combine hunting with reforestation and soil restoration programs, a holistic approach that sees the land not just as a battlefield, but as a living system that needs healing. The truth is clear: there's no single answer. What works in one region fails in another. But through shared experience, technology, and respect for the land, we might finally find the balance that's been missing for generations. Chapter 6. A battle without end. It's midnight in the Texas plains. The moon hangs low, pale light shimmering on the cornfields below. Farmer David Miller sits once more in his watchtower. On the infrared screen, shadows move. Slow, deliberate, unstoppable. He exhales, tightens his grip on the rifle, and waits. A shot echoes. Then another. The herd scatters. Silence returns. He lowers the gun. For now, the fields are safe. But he knows they'll be back. Tomorrow or the day after. Because this war never truly ends. Nature isn't cruel. It's indifferent. The wild doesn't hate or plot. It simply is. And in that truth lies the lesson. Humans can fight, adapt, and protect. But we must also learn humility. Because the land we defend is the same land we depend on. Across America, the war continues. From the cotton rows of Georgia to the rice paddies of Louisiana. Each farmer fights their own battle, guided by courage, fatigue, and love for the soil beneath their feet. They are the unsung defenders of the frontier, soldiers of the plow. But maybe, just maybe, this fight will lead to something more. Not victory, but understanding. Not dominance, but coexistence. Because in every broken fence, every trampled row, and every sleepless night in a watchtower, there's a reminder. Humanity and nature are not enemies. We are neighbors, bound by the same earth. So when the morning sun rises again, and the fields glow gold under the Texas sky, the battle may resume, but so does hope. Final message, a call to protect the land. If this story moved you, if you believe farmers, rangers, and communities deserve support in protecting their land, then subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us keep telling real stories from the front lines of nature, agriculture, and the wild. Every like, every comment, and every share helps spread awareness, not just about invasive species, but about the people who fight for balance every single day. Because these aren't just stories about animals. They're stories about us and the world we all share.